Okay, you're on a beach. You notice high tide occurs at 1 p.m. with a depth of 1.8 meters. You return at 7 p.m. in the evening and notice it is low tide at 0.6 meters. Find a cosine function that represents the depth as a function of the time in hours that has elapsed since 12 midnight at the beginning of the day. December 25th, for some reason, you're on the beach. Assume that the depth varies sinusoidally with time. That just means it's okay to use the cosine function here, or a sine function, but we'll use the cosine function. The left guy here is the cosine function. So we're going to go ahead and find 1 p.m. Okay, this is the number of hours after 12 a.m. So here's 12 o'clock, 1 p.m. would be here, and we're going up to 1.8. So 1.8 right about there. And then the depth is at 7 o'clock, which is, okay, 6 o'clock is 20 hours. No, sorry, 18 hours after 12 a.m. And so then we'll just go to 19 o'clock, which would be the same as 7 o'clock. And then we need to move it to a height of 0.6 meters. So 0.6 meters looks right about there. And then you check it, you get the green mark. But you don't want to do that yet. You want to fill in the amplitude. Okay, what's the amplitude? Well, the amplitude is, we think of it as how high the wave gets, but the wave is translated up from what you're used to. So really it's just the height past the midline, the highest height, maximum height past the midline. So how do you find that if you've if you've shifted the graph up? Well, the amplitude, the formula I mentioned in class, you can take the maximum height minus the minimum height. This is height for both of these, and divide by 2. So the maximum height is 1.8, and the minimum height was what, 0.6? And so 1.8 minus 0.6 would be 1.2, but this is divided by 2, right? So this is 1.2 divided by 2, which would be 0.6. So we're going to type in 0.6. And then the period, what does the period appear to be? The period would be the distance between the maximum height or the distance between the minimum heights, either way. So that appears to be from about 1 in the morning, 1 a.m. to 1 p.m., which would be 12 hours. And then the midline is just, that's the line that cuts the graph in half vertically. And normally that's, if you haven't shifted it upwards, then that's just the x-axis. But if it is shifted upward, then the midline would be equal to the average of the max height and the min height. So to find the average, you just go max height plus min height and then divide by 2. So that would be 1.8 plus 0.6 divided by 2. And 1.8 plus 0.6 would be 2.4. And then you divide that by 2 and get 1.2. And the midline, it's actually a line. It's actually a line. So the midline, it's a horizontal line, and horizontal lines always have the form y equals whatever the constant y value is, 1.2. And so that's what we're going to plug in here. And then, of course, you want to hit submit. Hopefully you get all green. We did, so we're good to go.